100 points in a single game. 55 rebounds against your greatest rival. Averaging over 48 minutes a game for an entire season because you almost never came off the court. The records of Wilt Chamberlain don't just sound outrageous. They sound like they're from a comic book, not a record book. For decades, these unbelievable numbers have defined the man, building a legend of an unstoppable force. A basketball Goliath who dwarfed everyone. But what if that legend is only half the story? What if behind the most dominant statistics in sports history, there was a man who felt completely misunderstood? What if the towering giant who seemed invincible on the outside was carrying battles no one ever saw? The origin of a giant. The story of Wilt Chamberlain begins not with a basketball, but with a measuring tape. Born in Philadelphia, Wilt was different from day one. He grew faster, stood taller, and moved in ways that didn't fit the blueprint of a normal child. By the time he entered high school, he was already towering at 6 feet 11, a height most players don't reach until their prime. In a world that wasn't built for him, Wilt had to learn to navigate doorways, buses, and classrooms that suddenly felt ridiculously small. His favorite nickname, the Big Dipper, came from his friends, who watched him constantly dip his head just to get through a door. It wasn't just funny. It was a symbol of how he lived in a world that had no measurements for a person like him. Ironically, basketball wasn't even his first love. Wilt once called it a game for sissies. He was drawn instead to track and field, where his supernatural gifts exploded to life. He ran the 100-yard dash in 10.9 seconds, faster than many sprinters. He triple jumped over 50 feet. He won the high jump 3 years straight. He was essentially a world-class track athlete, trapped inside a giant's body. But this was Philadelphia, a city built on street ball, competition, and hardwood dreams. Basketball found Wilt, and very quickly, destiny took over. By his sophomore year, Wilt wasn't just good, he was overwhelming. He dropped astonishing numbers game after game, including one legendary 90-point high school performance that had people questioning if the scorekeeper made a mistake. He was so powerful that the sport itself seemed to warp around him. And when one player bends a sport too far, the rule makers start pushing back, the rules start to break. To understand Wilt Chamberlain's true impact, you have to recognize something no other player in history can claim. Basketball literally changed its rules to stop him. Before Wilt stepped onto an NBA court, the ripple effects of his dominance were already shaking the game's foundation. The NCAA outlawed offensive goaltending because Wilt could simply hover above the rim like a human crane, tipping in any missed shot with ease. Next came the inbounds rule. At Kansas, Wilt's teammates could throw the ball over the backboard, knowing only he was tall enough to grab it. The move was legal until it wasn't. And then there was the free throw line rumor, one of the wildest stories in basketball history. Coaches claimed Wilt was so athletic, he could leap from the free throw line and dunk the ball. Free throws weren't meant to be dunks, so the league stepped in. Later, the NBA widened the paint from 12 to 16 feet, specifically to drag Wilt farther from the rim. The myth is forged in Hershey. After a year with the Harlem Globetrotters, Wilt entered the NBA in 1959, and the league felt the earthquake instantly. His rookie season wasn't an adjustment period, it was a full-scale takeover. He averaged 37.6 points and 27 rebounds. He won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season. But the moment that sealed his legacy forever came on March 2nd, 1962, in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Yet that night, Wilt Chamberlain became immortal. 100 points. He hit 36 field goals. He made 28 of 32 free throws, despite being known as one of the worst free throw shooters ever. The Knicks tried everything. Double teams, triple teams, the rivalry, and the Goliath complex. Here's the great paradox of Wilt Chamberlain. He was statistically the most dominant athlete ever. Yet many labeled him a loser, and one man stood at the center of that narrative: Bill Russell. Wilt vs. Russell wasn't just a rivalry. It was a clash of philosophies. Wilt was the unstoppable offensive machine. Russell was the defensive mastermind behind Boston's dynasty. While Wilt put up numbers no human should ever produce, Russell kept collecting rings that defined winning. The media devoured the contrast. Wilt became the Goliath, the evolution of a champion. The criticism finally reached Wilt, and he responded the only way he knew how: by rewriting the rules again. This time, not of the league, but of himself. In the 1967-68 season, Wilt decided he would prove he wasn't selfish. Not by passing more, but by leading the entire league in assists, a center leading the NBA in assists. It sounded ridiculous until he did it. It was the ultimate mic drop. This evolution led to something even bigger: a championship. In 1967, Wilt reinvented his game and led the Sixers to 68 wins and an NBA title, finally dethroning the Celtics dynasty. He did it again with the Lakers in 1972, winning another championship and Finals MVP. That Lakers team won 33 straight games, still the longest streak in NBA history. Wilt didn't just dominate, he adapted, he sacrificed, he evolved. Even Russell said, "Wilt is playing better than I ever did." He's sacrificing himself for team play. Wilt Chamberlain's legacy isn't just in the 72 NBA records he still holds, many of which may never be broken. His legacy lives in the rule changes, the widened paint, the stories whispered like folklore, and the awe he still inspires. He was the gentle giant who wanted to be understood, the offensive machine who wanted to win, the Goliath who wanted to be human. He didn't just play basketball, he reshaped the sport itself. So where do you think Wilt Chamberlain ranks among the all-time greats? Is he the most dominant player ever? Let us know in the comments below.